And we are now recording. So good morning and namaste, everyone. This is our presentation on mantra meditation. We'll begin with a mantra of invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I offer my pranams, my respects to the Supreme Personality Vasudev. Vasudev is an interesting Sanskrit name. It means that person who is realized in the completely pure state of mind. That is called Vasudev. Vasudev is Vishuddha Sattva, or Sattva Gun, which has no trace of Rajo Gun or Tamo Gun. So that person who can be realized in the fully pure state of mind is called Vasudev. And this is dealing with Sattva Vajja Chikitsa. Sattva Vajja Chikitsa is when we are doing things to treat the mind by increasing the qualities of Sattva Gun, to enliven qualities of Sattva Gun. This is Sattva Vajja Chikitsa. So let's start with, what is a mantra? Manas trayate iti mantraha. That which delivers the mind is called mantra. From manas, or mind, and trayate, to deliver. So that's where we get the derivation of the word mantra. Mantra has become part of the English language. Usually people say mantra or mantra. But it's generally taken in that context to mean an assertion that one may sometimes mindlessly repeat. So people call anything a mantra, but that's not really what mantra is. The meaning of mantra in yoga and Ayurveda is much deeper. Mantras are actually sacred spiritual vibrations that are invested with divine power, and they will reciprocate with us as we respect them. To the degree that we have respect for mantras, they will actually work for us. So this is our perspective in Ayurveda on mantra. So just a really quick philosophical backgrounder, how does it work? So according to Vedanta, Shakti Mator Abheda. There is no difference between potency, or Shakti, and Shaktiman, the wielder of potency. So according to Sankhya philosophy, everything has come from Purusha and Prakriti. And these are a transformation of the divine existing in the form of Shaktiman, who is the controller and wielder of potency, and Shakti, or potency. These are both the masculine and feminine aspects of the divine. And furthermore, according to Vedanta, we are a small spark spiritually of the feminine aspect, the predominated aspect of the divine, or Shakti. When we say potency, it's really a broad scope. It's not just talking about energy as in the sense of classical physics, light energy, heat energy, etc. But we're really talking about potency, or the ability to do things, including the potency of growing things, which is within the earth, the potency of heating things, which is in fire, and the potency of making things wet, which is in water. It's a somewhat broader in scope than energy. Again, trying to illustrate this, basically the perspective in Vedanta and Bhakti Yoga is that there's a spiritual realm which is eternal, full of knowledge and blissful. And Shaktiman is the supreme powerful who is eternally with the Shakti, or supreme power, and has the aspects of Sat, or of being all powerful and eternal, and Chit being all cognizant, all knowing, and Ananda being all loving and all blissful. And then Shaktiman is manifested as the Purusha, or the masculine principle behind creation, and Shakti becomes manifested as Prakriti, the fertile manifestation of the feminine principle with all the ingredients for creation. And we get this process of creation and the visible universe results. And this is the mundane realm. It's temporary, it's mutable or changeable, it's subject to ignorance. You have happiness in this realm, but it is mixed with pain. It's not bliss. It is happiness that's mixed with some pain. So this is just the philosophical perspective. So how does this relate to mantra? Again, more philosophy. You'll see where we're going here. You have the tanmatras, or the objects of sense perception, beginning with sound. Accounts of creation beginning with sound vibration. The sound vibration Om. The Vedas describe that that creation begins with sound. Even in the Bible also, the book of Genesis, it says in the beginning there was the Word was with God. And it is describing that there was a shabda, or sound, which came in the beginning. So sound vibration is the most subtle of all things, and it can carry immense power. Sound can permeate all layers of existence: mind, intellect, ego, and body. So mantras can be uttered quietly, which is called japa, or they can be sung out loud or recited out loud. When we sing mantras out loud, this is also called kirtan. So basically what we are saying is that there is a spiritual realm which is beyond the mundane realm, and that there is power of the spiritual realm which can enter this mundane realm through sound vibration. And it can have a profound effect. It's not an effect that we can say, well, clinically, here's how it happens. It is doing this and it is doing that, and we can measure it on an oscilloscope, and we can weigh it. We can, use scientific instruments to measure it. No, you cannot. It is something that is beyond this level or this plane of existence, and it enters through sound vibration, because sound vibration is the most subtle form of existence in this world. So what about qualification for mantra? What's the transmission of mantra? What does it take to be able to be engaged in this bringing in of spiritual sound vibration? Now, there's traditional practice in Vedic tradition which suggests that mantras are only given according to the qualification of the recipient, because uttering a mantra is an invocation. It is invoking some energy from outside this plane. And so some mantras are meant for special purposes and have special powers. And a guru will sometimes test a disciple over many years before bestowing a special mantra. I'm just now relating this as the traditional approach to mantras. Mantras were not given out like candy, like, oh yeah, here's a book of mantras, go ahead and read this. It was more like, yes, I will see if you are worthy, and if you are worthy and you show that you are dedicated and you will properly respect it, then I will give you this mantra and you will hear it. And the sound vibration in the guru giving a mantra to the disciple is an actual transmission of power. So, again, I'm trying to give the theory and the understanding of what we really mean when we're talking about mantra. And, this is somewhat similar to the concept of yama and niyama and Ashtanga yoga. You have to follow some rules and regulations before you really start entering into yoga practice. Yoga practice does not just mean, hey, I'm going to go and do an asana, and I'll enter an asana competition and show other people that I can do Vrishtikasana and stand on my hands and put my feet on my head from behind. And that's going to look really cool, because I'm really strong and I'm going to show off my yoga bod. I'm sorry, yoga is not about that. Similarly, mantras are not just about, taking something out of a book and reciting them. The traditional approach to mantras was that people would undergo a lot of discipline to receive a mantra, and it would always be received by hearing it, because mantras are respected as as a carrier of spiritual power. And this is why we're really talking about it in the context of Ayurveda and the mind. So, what are the different types of mantra? So, there are mantras that have specific invocations and purposes, but there are also divine mantras which can be used often and with respect to get divine blessings. And that's really the focus of this presentation on mantra meditation. These mantras, which we should give them respect, it may not be a mantra that you have heard from a guru and it has come in your right ear and you have received the ability to start a fire with a mantra. But these are mantras which can give you protection and blessings. And these are mantras which can be shared with people who would respect them. And they should be given respect. We should treat mantras with respect. We should treat them as their divine personalities, and they will reciprocate with us more if we give them more respect. Names of the divine are all mantras in and of themselves. If you were raised in a Christian household as I was, I always heard a lot, my mom would tell me, don't take the name of your Lord in vain. And that's actually, it's true. You don't use a name of the divine as a curse word or as just a way of blowing off steam. There should be some respect given. And in Judaism, the name of God is not uttered and not spelled out. It's only given in as an acronym, using an abbreviation or letters, because it would be considered to be disrespectful to give the full name of God. But names of God are actually very much a part of the Judeo-Christian tradition, especially when you get more into the esoteric aspects, like in Kabbalah and so forth. So let's give an example of mantra, and giving an example from Vedic literature of Dhruva. Dhruva was the son of a king, King Uttanapad, who had 2 wives. He was the son of one of the king's wives, and his stepmother spoke very harshly to him. He was very hurt. His stepmother told him his stepbrother was sitting on the king's lap. He wanted to also sit there, and his stepmother told him, no, you are not my son. I am the favorite of the king, and you cannot sit there. And you should go and do some austerity so you can then take birth in my womb, and only then you will be able to sit on the lap of the king. It was very hurtful, a very hurtful thing to be said, and he was deeply hurt. He went to his mother, and she said, I'm sorry, she's right. I'm not the favorite, but you should pray to Bhagavan Vishnu and he will help you. So he actually went to the forest and he said, I am going to do tapasya. I am going to do some austerities. He was met by Narada Muni, a great sage, and Narada Muni gave him a mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. He also gave him instructions on practicing yoga. Now, this was in another age. This was in a different age when people had a natural, strong spiritual inclination and they had a long life, and it was a very different age. And he was advised to do yoga practice and to do this mantra along with meditation. He did this mantra so diligently that he achieved perfection within 6 months. He fixed his mind in meditation on Bhagavan Vishnu through this mantra. Now, I'm mentioning this story as just an example of the traditional approach in mantra. So his guru Narada Muni gave him the mantra. He spoke the mantra to him. He gave the sound vibration of the mantra. And then he practiced this mantra with a very, very strong fixed practice. And although he was just a young boy, he achieved perfection. And he had originally requested that he wanted to have a kingdom greater than the entire universe. So when Bhagavan Vishnu actually appeared before him and gave him the boon that he would have the great blessing of, he would have a planet which was actually a spiritual planet within the material world, and that would therefore be a kingdom greater than the entire material world. So, but by the time he had done this, his mind had become so cleansed of all the things he had been asking for. He said, Kacham vichan vanapi divyaratnam swamin kritartusmivaram nagache. Oh my Lord, I have been looking for broken pieces of glass. He was referring to his desire to have a great kingdom greater than the entire material world as broken pieces of glass, because he said, I have seen you now directly, and I consider that I have gotten a valuable gem when I was asking for broken pieces of glass. Now all of my desires are fulfilled and I have no other desires. So that is the story of Dhruva. There is a sacred syllable Om. Since we are talking about mantras, we cannot avoid talking about Om. There is one etymology of Om given by Sri Jiva Goswami, who is a poet and philosopher who lived about 500 years ago. Akare nochate Krishna sarvalokaikanayakaha, ukare nochate Radha makaro jiva vachakaha. Basically, Om is taken as A plus U plus Ma together, where A represents Krishna, the supreme master, or Shaktiman, the master of all worlds. U represents Radha, the Shakti, or divine feminine potency. And Ma is the individual Atma, joined together in service. So Om is a mantra in and of itself, and it is also a seed invocation for other mantras. So we can utter Om by itself, but also it is the seed of other mantras. For example, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We begin with Om. So Om is a sacred syllable, and it is always something to be given respect as well. And we consider it to be a representation of the divine in sound. So sharing mantras can be done, but they should be shared with persons who will also have some respect. If we share mantras with persons who have no respect, this is disrespectful. This would be called aparad. Mantras that invoke divine blessings, we can share with someone who is ready to respect them. Vishnu mantras never have ill effects, so they are good to share. What are some mantras that can be shared? So here are some mantras. As mentioned before, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I offer my pranam, my respects to the Supreme Personality Vasudev. Shri Ramaya Namaha. I offer my respect to Shri Ram. Of course, Ram is a name of Vishnu, of Bhagavan, which means he is the reservoir of pleasure. It also means Shri Ram, who was the husband of Sita Devi and who was served by Hanuman. Another mantra is called the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This mantra became very well known back in the 60s and 70s, but it is actually recommended in Vedas and Upanishads as one of the great mantras because it is invoking Hare, is the vocative form of Hara or Shakti, the divine energy. Krishna means the all-attractive supreme person, and Rama means the supreme person who is the reservoir of pleasure. It also means Shri Ram, Shri Ramachandra, and also can be taken to mean Shri Balaram, who is the source of all spiritual strength. Another mantra, Om Vishnave Namaha. I offer my respects unto Bhagavan Vishnu. Vishnu means it is the name of the Supreme Person. That means he is all pervading. He is present through every atom of this universe in his form as Paramatma. Om Namah Shivaya. This is a mantra to Shankar, Shiva. Shiva is when the divine has manifested as the Purusha within this world, that is Shiva. And he consorts with Prakriti in the form of Parvati. So offering respects to Shiva. Some people are naturally more attracted to the worship of Shiva. But it is to take his name is very auspicious, and we should always respect Shiva. Om Parvatyaye Namaha. Parvati is the material energy, the supreme powerful superintendent of this material world. She is called Parvati. She is called Durga. She has many different names, but she is basically God's energy of the superintendence of this material world. Om Suryaya Namaha. This is I offer my respects to the sun, Surya. Surya is considered to be a manifestation of the power of illumination of the divine within this world. The sun gives light and enlightenment and freedom from disease in this world. So we take Surya mantra. Om Ganeshaya Namaha. I offer my respect to Ganesh. Ganesh is the son of Shiva and Parvati, and he is also the deity of all endeavors for success, learning, and education. In Jyotish and in Ayurveda, we also offer respect to Ganesh Ji before beginning any type of action or beginning teaching or studying anything. We always ask for the blessings of Ganesh. This is a mantra which is especially for Ayurvedic practitioners and students. It's something that can be recited every morning and every time we study. Namami dhanvantarim adidevam surasarair vandita pada padmam lokair jararug bhayamrityunasham dataramisham vivadhaushadinam. Oh, my dear Lord Dhanvantari, I give you my respects. I bow down and offer pranams. Your lotus feet are worshipped by even the demigods and the demons. You heal the world from miseries, diseases, ailments, old age, and fear of diseases and death. Oh Lord, give me your blessings, and you are the giver of all medicines so that we can heal the sick and the unwell. So this is it is a verse or prayer of respect and invoking blessings of Dhanvantari. So this is a mantra that we can do regularly as Ayurvedic practitioners. I will say it again. Namami dhanvantarim adidevam surasarair vandita pada padmam lokair jararug bhayamrityunasham dataramisham vivadaushadhinam. And once more, I will say it a little bit like in a kind of a singing way. Namami dhanvantarim adidevam surasurair vandita pada padmam lokair jararug bhayamrityunasham dataramisham vivadhaushadhinam. Namami dhanvantarim adidevam surasurair vandita pada padmam lokair jararug bhayamrityunasham dataramisham vividhaushadhinam. Namami dhanvantarim adidevam surasurair vandita pada padmam lokayarjararubhayamrityunasham dataramisham vividhaushadhinam. So this is a mantra for Shri Dhanvantari. Mantras and astrological remedies, or Jyotish. So if there is a problem with a particular planet being debilitated or afflicted by bad combinations, there may be mantras that are helpful to invoke divine help. And sometimes in doing Jyotish consultations, I may recommend someone to do a particular mantra, usually invoking one of the Dashavatar incarnations of Vishnu, for help with issues with a particular planet or combination of planets. Yantras or diagrams may also be inscribed with mantras to invoke blessings or assist with overcoming obstacles. We also have a yantra in our school logo. In our, well, this has the old, we actually have the same yantra in the Ayurveda Wellness Institute logo, has this on this slide. But we have also adopted the same Vishnu yantra in our Narayan Ayurveda and Yoga Academy. So again, mantras and Ayurveda. Herbs also are associated with divine beings who bless them with special properties. And we will traditionally, the traditional preparation of Ayurvedic remedies involves invoking mantras to activate essential properties and request blessings to help in healings. The other use of mantras in Ayurveda is that they can be useful in disturbances that affect the mind. You know, we like the Maharishi herbal preparations. They're a little expensive, but they also do a lot of rituals and mantras in preparing their herbs, and you know, there's a good intention there in preparing them. And I think others do that as well, but just to give one example, we consider that the preparation should be done with mantras, and it should be done at an auspicious time for the herbal preparations to have best effect. So what do we really mean when we say that mantra delivers the mind? You know, we said mantra means that which can deliver the mind. Manas iti trayate mantraha. But what do we mean? Well, this gets back to yoga philosophy. According to yoga philosophy, mind is the cause of our entanglement in worldly affairs and the suffering that results. Because we suffer because we want things. If we didn't want anything, if we were happy without wanting things, then there would be nothing that could affect our happiness. Our happiness could not be adulterated by, you know, denying us things that we want. The mind is also considered to be the cause of liberation. When the mind can be fixed on the divine through yoga practice, then it is considered to be the cause of liberation. Otherwise, the mind is considered to be cause of bondage. So what is the practical liberation of mind? So, you know, many of our problems and modern problems, we can trace these to the mind. You know, it's just, you can trace so many modern problems to the mind. Because of the three vrittis of the mind, because of thinking, feeling, and willing, we get enmeshed in a cycle of desiring and acting. You know, we want something, we desire it, we do something to get it, we get it, it doesn't make us happy, and there's some disturbance that results, and it's a vicious cycle that keeps going on and on. Mantras have a cleansing effect. The cleansing effect of mantras helps to free us from being bound to chasing our own desires. And it may also give us some connection with some spiritual bliss, some connection with the otherworldly level of bliss that is not related from contact of senses with the sense objects. When we are absorbed in chasing the fulfillment of our desires, sometimes we make choices which are not healthy, or we forget about good choices we should make. There's a story about someone who became a very, famous as a great poet and saint named Tulsidas. And Tulsidas was a normal guy who had a shop, and he was very much in love with his wife, and he would go, and sometimes he would forget about his shopkeeping business, and he had some money to buy cloth for his shop, and he would forget and spend it on buying her some new ornaments. And he did this once. He went home, and he had to climb outside. He had to cross a river which was in the dark, and he was, instead of waiting to go home when it was less difficult, he crossed the river. There was a log to hold on to. He got across, and then the house was all locked because it was very dark and stormy. So rather than pounding on the door, he climbed up. There was a rope hanging conveniently, and he got in through the window. And then his wife said, "How did you come here?" He said, "Oh, I came across the river. There was a log." And they looked, and they saw there was a dead body that had been floating in the river. "And how did you climb up the window?" "Oh, there was a rope." "No, it was actually a snake, and the snake was hanging there, and he had used the snake for a rope." So because he was so absorbed in the thing that he wanted, then he did these things which were really bad choices. You could think of them as symbolic of bad choices that we might make. But then, of course, she said, "Oh, why you have gone, if you had so much trouble that you undertook for the sake of Bhagavan, for the Supreme Person, you would be such a great saint." And then these words struck him in the chest. They struck him like arrows in the heart. And he realized, oh, actually what she's saying is right. And then he ended up becoming a great saint, and he composed Ramcharitamānasa, which is a very a great poem in an old dialect of Hindi. It is on the topic of pastimes of Sri Ram. There are many stories about Tulsidas, but that is one. But the point is that mantras help us. They help free us from this vicious cycle of chasing after fulfillment of our desires. Because when we are chasing, when we're so absorbed in I want, and we sometimes forget about what we should be doing, or we forget about the things that might be harmful that we should avoid. Yeah, let's go on. What are some useful daily practices? So when meditating, we can do quiet utterances of a mantra in which you have faith and focus on the sound vibration. That is a practice. That is called japa. When we say a mantra, I am meditating, and while meditating, I am going to try to fix my mind on the sound vibration of the mantra. This gives us something to do with our mouth, and it also gives us something to do with our ears, and it gives us a point of focus for our meditation. If you can do this with dedication, even for a few minutes every day, it will have an effect. You should do it with dedication and do it with some faith. Have some faith that I am tuning into the pipeline of spiritual energy that will help free me from the cycle of being driven to try to fulfill desires. When there's an opportunity, like we're driving or we're waiting or something, we can do kirtan by saying or singing out loud. And there are many different kirtans that are very beautiful kirtans that can be sung that will give us benefit. You can also do Sankirtan. You can go where there's a group. Nowadays, there are kirtan groups all over the place. When I was very young, I joined an ashram, Bhakti Yoga ashram, and of course, kirtan was a very big deal. And it was, we thought, oh yeah, we're the only people who do kirtan. Now kirtan is all over the place. You even have people like, Krishna Das, and they make albums, and they'll go and they'll do a kirtan, and thousands of people will come to hear the kirtan going on. But actually, kirtan is something that lots of people have gatherings where they do kirtan, and this is actually it's a good thing to do. It is actually a very useful practice. You could even start a kirtan circle. It's not that hard, really. So these are useful practices. So that's it. I hope you found this very interesting, and following on the discussion on Vishada, I think hopefully that also gave you some interesting ideas. And really, we've gone just an hour and 45 minutes here. I think that was a good time. I hope this was very interesting for all of you. If you have any questions, please go ahead and put them in chat. Otherwise, you can put them in the forums. I'm just going to pause here for just a second and see if there's anything else, any other announcements or things that we need to make before we close. So give me just a minute here.